Now, Wells Expeditions has released their debut game, Arcane Legions. Do they have an excellent game in their hands, or do they just want to be Warhammer Fantasy? Find out today on the Recon Report. I'm Jason, the creator of the Army Showcase, and the Recon Report is a YouTube series presented by TabletopBattlefield.com, and the next few minutes we'll do a quick review of Arcane Legions by Wells Expeditions. Arcane Legions is a mass action combat game. Think lots of troops in the field at once. Now at a quick glance, it may just look like a cheaper, uglier version of Warhammer Fantasy. But I don't think Wells Expeditions wants to take on Games Workshop directly. I think their actual goal is to target the people who like the concept of Warhammer Fantasy, but don't want to pay the price, deal with assembling and painting their armies, or deal with slow, detailed gameplay. That brings me to Arcane Legion's strongest point. It's cheap. I have 2 full tournament armies in front of me here, and each one will cost around $60. Now that being said, many of the figures are ugly, others refuse to stay together even after gluing, and some were simply impossible to assemble. Just about everything is simple and straightforward for this game. Movement is measured using empty formation bases, and turning is done using this nifty turning tool. For the most part, it works. Now there are some wonky situations where it would be impossible to base your enemy using this thing, but those can be solved through rules fudging and other actions. Unfortunately, someone had to be an idiot and think it's a good idea to only include 1 turning tool in a 2-player starter set, but just calm myself down, I'm not going to rant about that at this time. Combat is just as straightforward. Each player rolls their dice and damage is assigned by pairing up the player's dice from highest to lowest. Think a super version of Risk. Also, I find the balance between ranged and melee combat to be pretty good. Archers do lots of damage at a distance, but don't let them be based, otherwise they will die in a hurry. Probably the coolest mechanic Arcane Legions has to offer are the formation bases. The stats for a unit are determined by how the figures are arranged on the card. Now each location will provide a combination of attack, defense, movement, and special abilities, so depending on the unit situation, you'll want your figures in different positions, and of course throughout the battle you'll change them up accordingly. Now as troops die, it forces players to make choices about how that unit will behave. So in some ways, this mechanic makes up for the lack of psychology in the game. Now there are a few glitches here and there. The rulebook feels a little rushed, and some of the diagrams don't demonstrate things very well at all. The command point system, while introducing more tactics, can diminish gameplay if not implemented correctly in the scenario, and let's not even get started with the default tournament scenario. I much prefer playing the Killing Fields one that Kyle and I put together. Arcane Legions is a good first game from Wells Expeditions. It is not an awesome game, but it's pretty darn close. It's just a few small mistakes that keep it from reaching that level. So my recommendation, head on down to the local game store for a demo of a full-size battle and give the game a try out. Once again, I'm Jason. For more information on World of Miniature Wargaming or to submit your own content, check out the Army Showcase and Tabletop Battlefield podcast over at www.tabletopbattlefield.com. So thanks for watching, and have a good night.